Hello and welcome back to Every Problem. This is Stewart Calculus 8th edition, section 1.4, problem 1a and b. So for problems 1 through 4, it says, use the law of exponents to rewrite and simplify the expression. And so with a, we are given 4 to the negative third over 2 to the negative 8. And one of the properties of negative exponents is if you have them, you have to rewrite it as a reciprocal. So what that basically means is you're going to need to bring this 2 to the negative 8th up to the top and turn it into a 2 to the 8th. This 4 to the negative third will then go to the bottom, and that will become 4 to the third. Now, even though we have different bases with 2 and 4, there is an interesting property with exponents that we can use for this 4. So if we have 4 to the third, and you ask yourself, what does that really mean as an exponent? Well, that's just 4 times 4 times 4. And each of those 4s can split off into 2s and, 6 of them. So what we find is that 4 to the third is equivalent to 2 to the 6th. So that actually comes in handy, because what that means is now we have an expression that we can definitely simplify without doing a bunch of tedious math of maybe multiplying 4 3 times or 2 8 times. And so now we have 2 to the 8th over 2 to the 6th. Now another property with exponents is whenever you are dividing exponents with like bases, in this case we have 2's, then you can simply rewrite it and it will be the equivalent of 2 to the 8 minus 6. And that just happens to be 2 squared, which ends up being 4. And that's the answer for part A. Now, part B is a little different because it doesn't have just a simple numerical answer like that. So for part B, they give us 1 over the cubed root of x to the 4th. Now, this notation is a little bit tricky at times, so I'll go over it. And so what this is it's 1 over, and what it is it's x to the 4 thirds. And the reason for that is because suppose we have x to the 1/2. That's known as the square root of x. X to the 1/3 is known as the cubed root of x. But x to the 4 thirds, we still have a cubed root, but it's going to be of x to the 4th. So we can see here that this top number is sort of our power, and this bottom number is our root. That's one of the better ways of thinking about it. Now, we're still not quite done, because one thing about simplification is having a square root in the denominator is usually not the best thing to do. So I'm going to bring this 1 over x to the 4 thirds down. And what we want is we want to bring this up here. So the only way to do that is we actually just write x to the 4 thirds, and you can say that's to the negative first power. And then you could even distribute that negative first power in, and we could just say x to the negative 4 over 3. And that's going to be our answer. So that's it for problem 1.